Asked frequently is, why are Ohio school districts on the ballot so often? And that's a real legitimate question for people and citizens to be asking, because it's true. In fact, Ohio school districts are on the ballot much more than any other districts in any other state in the union. In fact, over the last 10 years, there have been something like 3,500 ballot issues on the ballots in Ohio. And so I'm fond of often saying, you know, there's only two kinds of school districts in the state of Ohio: those that are on the ballot and those that will be. And the reason for that has to do with the way schools are funded in Ohio. For example, in almost every other state, local school boards have the ability to adjust school district budgets and the local tax revenues for inflation. So in almost every other district in the country, as the cost of goods and services increases, local boards are able to adjust their revenue streams and their local property taxes up to cover those kinds of inflationary costs. That is not the case in Ohio. Ohio districts have no ability to adjust their local tax revenues for the costs of goods and services as they increase. Consequently, districts can absorb those increased costs for a short period of time, but sooner or later, as the cost of everything goes up, districts find themselves needing to be back on the ballot just to maintain the services and programs they already have in place. Another reason districts are on the ballot so much in Ohio is because of something called House Bill 920. And it was legislation passed back in the 70s when property values were going through the roof. The legislature put in place a plan such that as property values rose, district millage rates would be rolled back so that a levy would never generate any more funds than it did the first day it was passed. So that's another reason why districts are frequently on the ballot. Again, they don't have any way to overcome inflationary costs. Another reason has to do with the plain fact of the matter is that over the last several years, districts have experienced less state aid, less money coming from the Ohio Department of Education to support what districts do. Another reason that districts are on the ballot more and more frequently is because 7 or 8 years ago, the state legislature eliminated something called tangible personal property tax. And these were taxes that local districts received from their local business, industry, and manufacturers. And it was a tax based on their inventories and their equipment. The legislature phased that tax out, so that means that districts that relied on that tangible personal property tax for their local revenue stream are having to go out and find ways to replace that. And that's significantly hurt a number of districts that have relied on that over the years. And finally, the reason it seems that districts are always on the ballot is because districts can place on the ballot levies that go for a limited period of time. So typically a district might put on the ballot a levy that is going to go for 3 years or 5 years. At the end of that time, then, the district either needs to not collect those monies or renew those levies. So when you think about it, if a district has 2 or 3 of those limited term levies on their tax duplicate, periodically they need to be back on the ballot to renew them. And while those don't represent any increase in local taxes, they do require boards to go back on the ballot and have them renewed. So again, there's 4 or 5 reasons why districts in Ohio are on the ballot so much. It's true that they are. And again, I've always maintained there's only 2 kinds of districts in this state: those that are on the ballot and those that will be.